Welcome to the Magic Hour Talk Show with Paul Chappell. I'm your host. And not a lot happened this week, folks. Mostly it was the Emmy nominations and a few other things I'll go over. But I'm not too big on award shows because I just think they're kind of worthless. Someone always wins who you don't think should win. And studios and, production companies, they always lobby for their actors to win. I just think it, in some ways, is a little bit fraudulent. So I don't really trust award shows, especially this year, because the people on Better Call Saul got robbed. Now, I haven't seen all the shows in this list. I'm going to admit that. But man, they didn't nominate Rhea Seehorn, Tony Dalton, Bob Odenkirk. Okay, Giancarlo Esposito did get nominated for Best Supporting Actor. In fact, he got 2 nominations this year. He got one for The Mandalorian, he was only a guest star on in like 1 or 2 episodes. So good on Giancarlo Esposito, but they should have gave him an award years ago. And I think he was nominated, but he got beat out by somebody else on Breaking Bad. I think it was Aaron Paul, if I'm not mistaken. But so I'm glad for him because he deserves it. And sometimes they say, well, you don't get an award necessarily for a particular show or movie. You get an award for a body of work. So you have to be nominated several times until you actually get something. And that makes sense to a certain degree. Although there's a bunch of actors who got awards, on their first time out doing a movie. So, that has happened. So, I don't know if I totally buy into that. But good on Giancarlo Esposito. The man is everywhere now. He's in Far Cry 6, for God's sake. We're going to run out of mediums for Giancarlo Esposito to conquer pretty soon. But let's see some other things that I have actually watched that got nomination. The Crown, of course. The Handmaid's Tale. Although I thought The Handmaid's Tale kind of sucked this last season. Although I haven't even seen all the seasons. So take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt because I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to television. I only watch the stuff that fits my channel. So I didn't watch Ozark. Ozark probably would have fit my channel. I don't like Jason Bateman, though, for some reason. He's a poor man's Michael J. Fox. Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's probably going to win. It's a pretty good show. But there's a bunch of shows I did not watch. So, like I said, they take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. I just don't know how. I saw Blackish. That's pretty good. And The Crown got a lot of good nominations. Of course, just like Better Call Saul, got the Best Outstanding Drama Series nomination. And then Olivia Colman got nominated for Best Outstanding Actress. And Helena Bonham Carter got Best Supporting Actress nomination. So I agree with that because especially with Helena Bonham Carter, I thought she knocked it out the park as Princess Margaret. Just great. I was kind of iffy on Olivia Colman. I kind of miss Claire Foy, I think. I think that's why I kind of wasn't liking her performance in the last season, but that's just me. Let's see, what else do we... Oh, Watchmen. If you don't already know, Watchmen was probably the greatest show that came out last year. It only ran for 1 season, and that it was a limited series. They meant for it to only do 1 season, and it was written by Damon Lindelof or whatever his name is, the guy who wrote Lost. So I thought, oh God, he's gonna screw this up too. But I went ahead and watched it, and man, was it a great sequel for the comic books, not the movie, the comic books. Because it had the squid in the series when they did the flashbacks to the event they showed the squid. So that's why I say it's a sequel to the comic book. They did a lot of stuff on police brutality, or not police brutality. Well, a little bit on police brutality, but mostly on racism and how actually they did do quite a bit on police brutality now that I think about it. But it was framed through the lens of a black man. I don't want to spoil too much if you haven't seen. Go watch. If you haven't seen Watchmen, go watch it right now. It was just great. I would say subscribe to HBO for a month just to watch it. It was just great. It was the first time I've seen the Tulsa massacre depicted. It was a massacre, of course, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where a place called Black Wall Street. You see, you always hear white supremacists, whoa, black people have been free for so long. Why haven't they done this? Why haven't they done that? Why haven't they? You know why? Because every time we do something, you either lynch our people, because I think I read a statistic where I think 90% of people lynched at the turn of the century were the majority of the people lynched were businessmen, black businessmen. And in the case of Tulsa massacre, they say between 300 and I've heard as high as 10,000 people were massacred. They don't know because they didn't do it to keep any records of it. But the official count is 300 black people were murdered because this mob of people wanted to lynch a black man who had been accused of assaulting a white woman. And the white woman, in this case, she didn't even press charges after initial confrontation. Something happened in the elevator somewhere, but they were going to lynch this black man who had been cleared. And the black people in town, many of them World War I veterans, they had guns, and they went to the courthouse and defended this man. So all the white people in this mob went back home and they got their guns. And because the white people outnumbered the black people, there was a massacre. But if you haven't seen this series, go see it. They depict that massacre in the very first scene. It was done very well. So I would encourage you to check it out. Also of note, both Disney Plus and Apple TV Plus got their first nominations. Disney Plus got a nomination for, of course, Baby Yoda. Mandalorian. Sometimes I forget the name of the show. Mandalorian got a few nominations, I think. Apple TV Plus got 18 nominations across various categories, including 2 major nominations for prestige series: The Morning Show with Stephen Carell, and Jennifer Aniston was nominated for Best Actress in a Drama Series, and Stephen Carell was nominated for Best Actor in a Drama Series. I haven't seen either one of those shows, didn't even know they existed, to tell you the truth. So some other people got nominated. The only thing I watched on Apple TV Plus is that Tom Hanks movie. Like I was saying, I was going through this list. There's a lot of actors I like that got nominated, but I haven't seen the shows they're on. There's a lot of black actors. Oh, I see Regina King got nominated for Watchmen for Outstanding Lead Actress in a limited series of movies. That good. There's a lot of black people I saw in this list, so that was encouraging. I even saw RuPaul for his drag show he does. He got nominated. Angela Bassett got nominated. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II from Watchmen got nominated. I did not catch that on my first view of this list. So bunch of The Daily Show of Trevor Noah, Felicia Rashad in This Is Us. So many black people. Not to say I'm not happy about white people getting nominations, but I just think it's Eddie Murphy at Saturday Night Live, outstanding guest actor in a comedy series. So this is all very encouraging. Okay, so that's it for the Emmy nominations. Like I said, pretty interesting. Better Call Saul got robbed. Y'all need to do something about that. Get them next season, I guess, because that's going to be their last season. But Rhea Seehorn and Bob Odenkirk, and especially Tony Dalton, who played Lalo Salamanca. Man, give that man all the awards, for God's sake. He was so great. This caused a lot of controversy. Joe Rogan talking about gamers. And I'm going to just play a little snippet from it. It was on Twitter. The problem with Twitter is you go back, you bookmark something, you go back, you can't actually find some of the stuff you look for. But I was able to find this clip instead of the fuller clip. But I will get the fuller clip in a second. I'm going to go ahead and play.
Video games are a real problem. They're a real problem. You know why? Because they're fucking fun.
Addictive.
And you don't, yeah. Well, I have a real problem with them. And you do them, and they're real exciting, but you don't get anywhere.
Right.
It's like you could do like martial arts, right? You could learn jiu-jitsu. You get obsessed by jiu-jitsu, and then 3 years later, you're like an elite jiu-jitsu athlete. You're entering in competitions. You're a purple belt.
You're moving up.
Yeah, you're doing well.
Right.
You're thinking like, I might be able to open my own school one day.
You got confidence.
Yeah, if I have 100 students and those 100 students are paying me X amount of dollars per month, I can make a living. Holy shit, I can have this would be amazing. And then you see your jiu-jitsu school, and your jiu-jitsu instructor has all these students and drives a Mercedes, and he's got a nice family, and like, that's the future. This way you're doing something exciting and fun, and you don't. Or you could just be playing video games. 3 years later, you could be that same kid just playing video games, waiting for the next whatever the fuck game is, next Xbox game to come out, and you're gonna waste your time.
Okay, I mean, he kind of walked this statement back. I mean, clearly it's kind of bullshit, and I'll tell you why. There's a lot of things we do that get us nowhere. You know another thing that get us nowhere, Joe? Weed. Okay? Weed gets you nowhere. And as a person who knows several weed smokers, let me just reiterate. Some people have to stop smoking weed to get anything done. Of course, I've learned from Joe Rogan there's two types of weeds. There's the weed that makes you lazy, and then there's another weed that makes you creative or something, I think that's what he said. So I don't really buy this, what he said. There was a response by, of course, of all people, Ninja. He commented on it, and I wish I could find a clip because he's just rambling like an idiot. But, of course, that's going to touch him because if anybody makes a living off of gaming, it's got to be Ninja, right? But so many people responded to, I think this thing got like 700 comments or something, and like 7 million views so far. And of course, everybody's just dogging Joe Rogan. But I don't even like the comparison he makes to, the jiu-jitsu, whatever, with fighting or whatever, because he's Joe Rogan is very big on physical activity, so it doesn't surprise me that he would say this. But he did walk it back. He said that when he started comedy, his parents pretty much told him the same thing that he said about gaming. He says, only like a 1 in a billion comics make it. How are you going to make it being a comic? And of course, they're wrong. But I guarantee somebody who wants to be a professional pro gamer on Twitch is good. Even this show that I do, I can't tell you how many people have told me that my show sucks when I was starting out, of course, before I got this great studio and everything and spent some money and put a little time in. I mean, you're going to suck in anything you pursue for a certain amount of time until you get over to the other side. That's just the way it works. So never let anybody discourage you is what I'm saying. If you want to do something, do it. But this whole notion that you get nowhere of gaming, there's a lot of things you get. If you go out and play 18 rounds of golf or whatever, you're not getting anywhere unless you're going to go pro one day. But most of the golf users I know are already old men. You're not getting anywhere at the end of the day. I mean, that goes for so many activities that Joe Rogan participates in. So I just found that kind of ridiculous. But like I said, he walked it back a little bit. Do yourself a favor. There's a clip that where he goes in more depth to what he was saying. You just go right here to Joe Rogan clips. It's somewhere because they put this up knowing that people were going to get bent out of shape about it. And where is it? Anyway, it's on here. He's talking to this guy, this Spartan Race founder, Joe De Sena, when he said this. So if you want to go look for it, you might have to look up that guy's name, because I can't find it. I had it queued up. I swear I had it queued up, and I don't see it right off the bat. But yeah. So, don't get too bent out of shape. It's just somebody giving an opinion. We can have opinions, people, without trying to cancel. I'm not saying people are trying to cancel him, Joe Rogan, for saying this, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we try to cancel people for having any kind of opinion these days. Even racists have a right to their opinion. I mean, they're idiots, but they have a right to that opinion. There's no crime in being an idiot in the United States. Take my word for it. Because we have a lot of idiots right now. And anybody can find anything on the internet to support their dumb theories. That's the flip side to this great thing we call the internet. That's the dark side to the internet. If you want to believe the earth is flat, there's a website where there are people that support that theory too. Yeah. If you don't want vaccines, if you don't like vaccines, although most people that believe in or anti-vaxxers have been vaccinated, but that's besides the point. If you want to believe that, there's probably some quack doctor on the internet somewhere who will tell you vaccines will kill you. So I'm not mad at Joe Rogan. He if you look at the whole, if you're comparing gaming to something like comedy, you're probably more likely, if you're funny, to get a career as a comedian than as a gamer, though. I mean, the percentage of people playing games versus those who try to make a career out of is very, very lopsided. I mean, what percentage actually make a living? Maybe 0.001% or something. I mean, I can name a few off the top of saying Ninja, Shroud, Dr. Disrespect, but most of us don't play video games to make a career out of it. Although I do have a gaming channel called Power Up Archive. Hey, I got to promote myself. But yeah, we just like to have fun. And back in my day when multiplayers first came out and I got on the internet to play with people, I actually made friends, most of who I didn't keep up with, but I did make friends. There were guys I would see every weekend on my favorite servers, and Team Fortress 2, mostly Team Fortress 2, Counter-Strike, whatever I was playing at a particular time. I used to do the Return to Castle Wolfenstein. There was a server called Happy Penguin. Oh my God, I love that server. I played so many countless hours, and I knew everybody by name because the same people would play, and it was just a great time. And I wouldn't give those times for anything. I mean, my fondest memories from my 20s. So, that's all I got to say about that. So, good on Joe Rogan for stating his opinion, but I don't necessarily agree with it. Here's a little thing I saw, kind of made me sad. Daredevil actor says Marvel exec cut his storyline because nobody gives a shit about Asian people. And this is the guy that played Nobu, I think was the character's name. The pretty much that character that was kicking Daredevil's ass. I think it was the first season. It was the first or second season. It doesn't matter. But I didn't even know this guy could speak English, to tell you the truth, because you don't really find out anything about the character. But apparently Jep Loeb said this. This is the exact statement from this guy who played Nobu. His name is Peter Shinkoda. I'm kind of reluctant to say this, but I'm going to take this moment, but I have to because I have to. I'm not into really protecting certain things anymore. I mean, it's kind of convenient because As far as I know, Jeb Lowe has been kicked out as head of Marvel Television. So I don't know if he's being courageous here with a guy who's not even in the business anymore. So take that as with a grain of salt. Jeb Lowe told the writers' room not to write for Nobu and Gao. Gao was a Chinese, a female Chinese overlord in Daredevil. And this was reiterated many times by many of the writers and showrunners that nobody cares about Chinese people and Asian people. Now, that statement right there doesn't make any sense to me because here's the thing. There's a lot of money in China right now. And we make a lot of money on movies. I mean, I'm not me, but the studios make lots of bundle of money in China right now. I think they make more money overseas in other countries than they do here domestically in the United States. So this guy was definitely an idiot. But maybe he's talking about the television realm. I'm not sure that our television shows actually make as much money overseas. So maybe in that sense, maybe he was right. I don't know. But China is a huge market, and they have their own cinema, especially like Hong Kong. You know, people care about Asian characters. Believe me. You got, 2 billion people over there? There's some people that care. So this is just some more ignorance from a white guy. I didn't quite understand what he said here, though. He went on to say, there were 3 previous Marvel movies, a trilogy called Blade that was made where Wesley Snipes kills 200 Asians each movie. Nobody gives a shit. So don't write about Nobu and Gao. So they were forced to put their storyline down and drop it. Now, I don't know who said this. It's not clear the way it's worded, whether it was that Peter Shinakota or Jeb Lowe, but that's also doesn't ring true to me. I haven't seen Blade in a long time, but I don't particularly remember there being a lot of Asians in those movies. 200? He killed 200 Asians? I don't remember that. So I don't know. Somebody who didn't watch the Blade movies obviously said that, because I don't remember that at all. And even if Blade did kill 200 Asian people, they do that in a lot of movies. They kill, I mean, how many white people did Django kill in Django Unchained? How many Indian people did Chris Hemsworth kill in Extraction? How many white people did Sylvester Stallone kill in Rambo 3? I mean, do we care about any villains really? Even if there are a bunch of them of a particular race? I just thought that was kind of silly. So if Jeb Lowe actually said that, he's an idiot. I noticed that there was another complaint by another actor, and I don't have that queued up, but there was another complaint from a black actress on Riverdale. She says that basically she was complaining about her representation on that show. She said she doesn't get any backstory. Basically, she's just there to say sassy lines and roll her eyes, which, I mean, it's kind of true. There's a lot of people in Hollywood are ignorant about black people, and that's their view of black people. Black women are basically there to be sassy and to speak their mind and to shake their head like this and have their hands on their hips. I don't know, I'm probably doing a terrible imitation of what they actually think. But it's something within that realm of ridiculousness when it comes to black people. There's a lot of writers who frankly probably grew up in parts of the country where they never met a black person. Now, if there were more writers from the South, like Mark Twain, per se, I think we would have better representation, because white people in the South see black people all the time. We interact all the time. And it's crazy to me, because the South is always painted as the most racist part of the country. And yet, this is the part of the country where black and white people can't be any closer. I mean, we have mixed neighborhoods everywhere. You can go in any freaking upscale neighborhood in Greenville and you will find black people. And believe me, as someone who grew up in a middle class suburban neighborhood, there was plenty of other black families. I mean, we were probably the first black family to be in our particular neighborhood, but there was out because I think this was right after segregation had ended and everything, and black people were getting upwardly mobile, and that's what was happening. And so as I grew up, the more black families moved into the neighborhood. But there were black families in the neighboring neighborhoods because me and my brothers, we used to go everywhere. So I don't know. Just my little comment on the South. Okay. Zack Snyder and the Justice League. Now, apparently there is something called Justice Con that they were holding the same time Comic-Con came out, because Comic-Con, in case you don't know, was being broadcast mostly from people's homes because of the virus. And, by and large, they did the same thing with the Justice Con. In fact, as you can see here.
So is Adam the one who did the first JL shirt for you?
Yeah.
Zack Snyder was doing this Zoom video of these women. I don't know who these women are. But he had this whole meeting. I encourage you to watch this. It's on AV Club. The only thing I was really interested in was some footage from the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut. And he did deliver, although it wasn't very long. And I'm about to show you right now. So get ready. You've probably already seen this on the internet because I'm a few days late with this. But still, it's my show. I can show it when I want. Here it goes.
Assuming you're Alfred.
I'm looking over there.
That's it. I'm going to play it one more time.
Assuming you're Alfred.
I'm looking over there.
Now, okay, the first thing I want you to note is that Superman's wearing this black suit, which I think is awesome, and we didn't get to see that in the Josh Whedon's Justice League. And of course, also, you might not know, I don't know whether, I didn't understand one thing. They did point out in that video with Zack Snyder, you can tell that I don't think his face has been post-processed to remove a mustache. So I don't know whether they actually they just shot this again, because I think they've been reshooting some scenes for this actual Snyder Cut. But I do remember seeing Alfred looking up and saying, "I'm glad you're here," or something like that in the original trailer for Justice League. So naturally, Joe Whedon had this awesome scene cut, because I don't know. I'm not gonna say he's an idiot, but because he did do the Avengers. But I was disappointed when I didn't see this scene. And according to and this is even crazier. Actually, not so crazy, because it immediately made sense. In another article I read, Zack Snyder did confirm that he didn't choose Josh Whedon to replace him on Justice League. Now, I'd actually read that he chose Josh Whedon, but when I read this article, it all made sense, because you see, studios lie. And why do they lie? Well, this is one reason they lie. Usually when they take a movie away from a director, they just cut them off. I remember Louis C.K. talking about doing Pootie Tang. He was kicked, fired from the movie after he finished shooting, and he wasn't allowed to edit it. And somebody asked him on Twitter how the movie was going, and he was like, "I don't know, I haven't seen it." And somebody at the studio saw that, and they immediately flew him out to Los Angeles, all expenses paid, so that he could watch this movie, because the studio did not want to get in trouble with the Directors Guild of America, because the Directors Guild of America has some strict rules about who gets credit for what. And that just spooked him. So my feeling was that when Zack Snyder left, because his daughter, if you don't know, his daughter committed suicide. So he was having some personal issues. He took time off and he left. But in this article, Zack Snyder confirms that decision was actually made by committee. So somebody lied about him picking Josh Whedon as a successor. And the reason they did it, I would bet gold on my reasoning. I think the reason they did it was because they didn't want to piss off the Directors Guild of America, because the guilds have a lot of power in Hollywood, and there's so many of them. There's a Writers Guild, there's a Screenwriters Guild, there's a Screen Actors Guild, there's a guild for everything in Los Angeles, and they're very strict about who gets credit for what. So I think saying Zack Snyder chose Josh Whedon probably would have smoothed over any kind of problems they saw that they were going to get with the Directors Guild. Just think about all the movies you've seen and why do you think the credits roll at the beginning of most movies you see? Well, that's a requirement from these guilds. You have to give credit. In fact, George Lucas was famously fined for not having opening credits on Star Wars. That's right. He was fined like $250,000. And as a result, he left the Screen Actors Guild. So if you're wondering why he didn't direct Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi or really anything until we got back to the prequels, that was why. But yeah, they have very strict rules about that. And Zack Snyder has said he would blow this version of Justice League up if there was even a frame from anything Josh Whedon shot for the movie. So that tells me they gotta be reshooting, especially since the movie sucked so badly. And they tried to make it funny, which didn't even go with the whole tone set up in the Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. So Josh Whedon really screwed the pooch when he made that remade the Justice League, and I can't wait to see the Snyder cut. Can't wait to see it. The last thing I want to kind of look at was the opening scene. It's coming out tomorrow, guys. And by the time you're watching this, it's probably already out. So I'm sorry for that, but I've been working on some things. I'm working on some projects that are going to come to fruition, hopefully in a couple months. But I've been working hard on some things, and I kind of had to take a break from the channel. But I think it's going to be worth it when I get around to showing you what I've been working on. But here's the opening scene, and I'm probably going to have to fast forward through this because I don't want to get a copyright claim. I always get a copyright claim for this series for some reason. But if you've seen it, just wait. I'm going to watch it, and then we can kind of discuss what we kind of glean from this. Oh my God, that was freaking awesome. Okay, the special effects were a little bit rough around the edges, particularly this opening shot of 5 walking. You can kind of see the halo, that halo that you get when you do green screening or blue screening. Let me turn now. I definitely can't play this video for you because I did it my way as playing. That's a Frank Sinatra song, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken. But really appropriate for some reason. Okay, this newspaper. You might notice here, it says JFK declares war on Reds. So what does that mean? So the only thing I can figure is because if you remember from the first season, the last thing that happens is everybody gets teleported back at the same time by 5. And I guess this happens right after, and he's alone. So I'm assuming that they didn't all return at the same time. So we might have that one of the Star Trek situation. You know that episode. What was it? I forget the name of the episode. The Mirror at the Edge of the Universe or something. It was that episode where was it Elizabeth Taylor? She goes back in time and she prevents. No, not Elizabeth Taylor. Bones goes back in time and he prevents Elizabeth Taylor from dying. And as a result, the United States never enters into World War II. And because of that, the Nazis win. And she changes the course of history and she changes everything. And pretty much the Federation never happened and all that. So I'm assuming they all went back in time and came out at different points in time or something. Because I remember from watching the trailer for this show, you pretty much have a situation where it looks like everybody's has been living in the past. Because everybody's got the hairdo. I mean, you can even see it in this. Well, I might be wrong about that. Let me see. Everybody has a cool costume this season. And it looks like everybody's wearing black. So they're looking more like a unified team of people. See that? Everybody's wearing black trench coats and jackets and whatnot. So I'm liking this. But it seems to me that somebody went back in time and they prevented JFK from being assassinated. And as a result, this caused a war between the Soviet Union and the United States. And an invasion. So this is I can't wait to see this now. I mean, and I like to see Ellen Page. I forget what's the name of her character. Vanya, I think it's, or is that the other girl? But man, she's like the Dr. Manhattan of this group. She's just like super powerful. She's like the Dark Phoenix pretty much. Because she, of course, causes the apocalypse last season. So she's more like akin to being Jean Grey, Dark Phoenix. So I'm liking all these themes. This whole time travel thing is working. Sometimes you see people do time travel and it's kind of corny. And it seems to me like their powers have gotten some kind of enhancement. Because I remember the guy who throws the knives. I just thought he could control knives, but it never occurred to me that maybe he could control any kind of metal. It seems like, but not really like the way Magneto does it. Because in this shot right here, let me play that again. He's affecting the paths of these bullets. He pretty much deflects them back at all these guys and kills them. So I'm not sure what his power is. It's because here again, he had some kind of control over metal and knives in the last season, and in this instance, he's controlling bullets, both metal. So I'm assuming it has something to do with metal, but you didn't see anything more than that from. Because if he could manipulate metal, he'd be more like Magneto. He'd be doing things akin to what Magneto does. And we haven't seen that. So he has some kind of manipulation power, but I'm not clear on what it is. I haven't read the comic books. And, of course, this character, too, Claus, I think his name was, he really didn't use his power last season to this extent. He's bringing these ghosts of dead soldiers to fight. I thought that was cool. And even her powers, I forget her name. I thought she was kind of psychic, but she actually made those guys' head explode. So I thought she just could suggest something and make somebody do it. But this is something else. The fact that she made those guys' head explode, you can't make if you're suggested to do that by a psychic, you're not going to be able to do it because it's impossible. You can't make your own head explode. So I'm not sure what her power is either now. I'm going to really do some research after watching this. But I can't wait. I'm going to, in fact, call me crazy. I might have to wait up at midnight to see this right when it drops. I'm so encouraged by this opening shot. So yeah, I'm really pumped for this show now, man. Great on Netflix. They got kind of slapped around by Marvel a little bit. You know, all their great superhero shows got taken away. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and the not so great Iron Fist, and Punisher. Oh my God, what did they have? 6 shows? What is that? How many is that? Oh my God. And they come back with this gem, and they have Stranger Things. So good on Netflix for not giving up, for just forging ahead, because they got a hit on their hands with this show, I have to tell you. And I mean, I have more excitement for this than I had for a lot of those Marvel shows. So, can't wait. But yeah, that's all I got for today, guys. Look forward to my review for the Umbrella Academy Season 2. Hopefully I'll be able to get it out by Saturday. If not, it'll be a little bit later than that, but hopefully I want to get it out by Saturday, because I think after that, everybody will have watched it, so it'll be kind of late. But yeah, that's all I got for today. I'd like to thank my subscribers and encourage you, if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that, just go ahead and smash that subscription button. And if you want to make a comment about anything I said, go ahead, make a comment. I'll do my best to respond to you. Give me a like. Give me a dislike. All of it helps me, people. But yeah, I'd like to thank you and encourage you to ring that bell so you know when my next video drops. And I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.